Hi, many of you know me as Andrea the Book Lady, and I am Andrea the Book Lady. What some of you know, maybe not all of you know, by the way, I have a cat over here doing her thing, uh, is that I'm also an astrologer and known as Urania the Astro Tracker. I do have a website, astrotracker.com. And I decided to make an announcement today only because I really wanted to do it a couple days ago, but too busy. Because astrology is no joke, folks. You guys think it's just what you see in magazines and newspapers, and it's just whatever when people say, "What's your sun sign?" that it's a joke. No, the sun sign only tells what season you were born in. It's nothing great, nothing really that can be specific about what who you are or that it causes anything in you or that an event is going to happen. But I am an astro tracker. And so what I do is I track the planets, the asteroids, the moon, and of course, centered around the sun in all our solar system. And I look at history. I look at the United States history. I look at world history. I look at the history of leaders. I look at our own history. And with that, we can tell things that are going to happen. So I'm just going to say that astrologers are not surprised. Number one, what's happening in Venezuela. In fact, I told my astrology class last Monday, a week ago, that Maduro was out. He would be out soon. He was on his way. Um, and that, by the way, for those of you saying Machado won't get in, she probably will. There will be a deal made there. Anyway, onward and upward, Iran, which is not in the American news. And the question is, why is Iran having this major revolution where Ali Khamenei is out? He is out. He's probably going to Russia. Uh, the people are in the streets burning everything down, burning his pictures. So Iran is having a major revolution. Have you seen it on your news? No, you have not. By the way, I said last September, August, September, that Khamenei was going to be out, that it looked very bad for him. So, you know, he'll be lucky if he gets out without getting killed. That's how I look at it. That's how bad it looks for him. This is based on your exact time of birth, exact date, where you were born. There's a lot of things that are involved in astrology. Again, it's not just what's your sun sign. I'm an Aries. I was born in the spring and it means this. No, it's way more complicated. In fact, I can even show you. First of all, um, here's something. Today's chart looks like this. And that's not even with a lot of events. That's just with seven major that's just with the major planets and a couple of asteroids added in. So that's nothing major. Um, so what we're looking at is what's going on here. These angles will create certain tensions or ease of certain things happening. And astrologers can predict that. So astrologers are not surprised what's going on. I'll just show you something else so you can see that astrology is not you know, the foolish thing that people try to make it out to be. Here is the movement of the planets. I think this one is today. There are some lines, Pluto lines, going through Venezuela and Colombia. And of course, Colombia is involved in the Venezuela thing because of the drug stuff. So, by the way, so drugs are involved, you know, so the people who are just saying it's oil, it is oil, but it's also drugs, both. It's both. So it's those things are going on. Anyway, this shows the movement of the planets. We look at stuff like this. And again, we look at historical things. So, for example, 250 years ago, Pluto was in Capricorn, then Aquarius. That is when we had our revolution. Not only that, that's when the French had theirs. So basically, the birthdays are in the same vein. And so we're going to go through another thing, and astrologers are looking at the potential of more wars that we will directly be involved in, as you can see happening with Venezuela. Well, obviously with Israel, but in a in a less quote unquote direct way, but we're still involved, So we're able to look at those things. Every time Uranus goes into the sign of Gemini, by the way, that planet makes a revolution of all of the constellations in every 84 years. We have a war. So if you go back and look, World War II, Civil War, those things are involved in those 84-year cycles. Astrologers know this. I can sometimes pinpoint to the day things that are going to happen and have been able to do that, not only for myself, but for other people. We talk about that in my class. If you want to heckle me, I love hecklers. Why? Because all I have to do is have a consultation with you, and then all of a sudden you will be interested in it too, because it's much more complex and scientific. It is not psychic. It is not woo-woo. It is really very much nuts and bolts. Where are things? Where were we before? How is it repeating now? And so forth. So that's really what astrology is. I'll just show you. Let's see if I can show you this. This is an even more complex chart. I think I have to. Is it going to work? It's not really going to work because of this, but there's a lot going on here in this chart. Um, you know, so we look at that. So really, we're mappers, we're trackers. That's what we are. We're just like hunters. You know how hunters go out and look in the woods for signs of where the animals have been. Well, that is exactly what we do. Uh, and so, FYI, I just want to set people straight about what it is. If you're interested more, you can contact me at booklady@astrotracker.com or check out my website at astrotracker. I do have classes that are going to be starting again on the 12th, but I always do something every week you can find us on Meetup at OK Astrology. I just needed to say this. Mainly when that thing happened overnight in Venezuela, I was like, well, hello. I think it's time to come out and talk about this and how this is not a joke. So just letting you know, astrology really works. And the thing I always say is kind of like the Boy Scouts, be prepared. If you know what's going to happen, then instead of freaking out, you can be prepared. And since I come from Depression era parents who taught me to be prepared for everything, yep, let's do it. Let's be prepared. This year is going to be a change even more profound than the COVID change. So just letting you know. Thanks. See ya.